Good evening, guys. It's Chris from daxtrader.co.uk, and I'm going to provide a DAX technical analysis summary and market review. So today on the DAX, it's pretty much surprised me yet again. I was expecting there to be a bearish day, and it's turned out to be one that's pretty much broken even, back to where we started, and it's created this sort of long-wicked candle on the daily chart, where we're going to be opening and closing pretty much on the same spot if it stays where it is. So we gapped lower earlier on and closed the gap, had another gap lower based on the back of some Eurozone manufacturing data that was below expectations. We produced this massive distribution down here as we've been sort of trading in and around the VPOC and the value area low from Tuesday. And we broke through that, past the VWAP a little bit earlier on, and I said earlier on that if we managed to get above, I think it was 94.38, then there's this low volume pocket that will just go, and chances are we'll just fly straight back up again. And that's exactly what happened with this candle here. Within 5 minutes, we'd closed that gap, and we started to consolidate in this second distribution, which we started at the beginning of the day. So this is probably where we'll end up this evening. I think volume will probably start to slow down now, although knowing the DAX is probably going to prove me wrong. And we're up towards the deviation high for the day. We haven't been able to take out any of the upper limits yet, so I'll be interested to see if we can hold below the VPOC from yesterday, naked VPOC from yesterday. And if that does go, then we could well be taking out the value area high and retesting the 95 level up here. So interesting day of action. I was expecting it to be heavily bearish. I think I went on a trade actually, which I got stopped out on. And we have had no real luck with the DAX trades today. I've got 4 more trades to put on in a moment. One of them's live already. It's another long on the Euro Swiss, simply because Swiss National Bank's Zurbrigg has basically said that they can buy Forex in unlimited quantity, and the Swiss National Bank will enforce the cap with utmost determination. And that cap is at the 120 level, which we are pretty much at right now. And so if we just go, I don't actually know if I've got the chart there. Well, I mean, you've probably seen the chart many times. I've probably got a copy of one behind all of these. Let's have a look. There we go. No, wrong one. There we go. So we had a spike yesterday, and we've had a mini one now, similar sort of time really, as it gets towards the end of the office day. Perhaps they make some sort of release that sends some sort of wave across the market, but nothing with any real commitment. The only thing that concerns me with this particular market is that because we've been trapped in this range for such a long time, I just wonder whether there is going to be a squeeze and it's going to break down to perhaps even something like the 118 level. This could be crazy, but just to basically wipe out all those stop losses of people that are going to be heavily weighing for this one to go up, putting their stop losses, maybe just 10, 15, 20 pips below, and it's just going to get them wiped out. But not just the 10, 20 pippers, but even the 30, 40, 50, 100 pippers. I'm just wondering whether they might actually get wiped out as well. So a little bit of concern perhaps there, but as long as you stick to heavy risk management, you're not going to lose too much. If it does go down to the sort of 119, 118 level, it gives us a perfect opportunity to buy from there, get in from a lower level. But at the moment, I think it's a pretty high probability setup that we're not going to go too much further below the 120 floor. And the Swedish National Bank has basically come out and said that they'll do whatever it takes to defend that level. So I've added to my position. I've taken another one out. I'm allowed a maximum of 4 on any one pair at any one time, and I've currently got 2. So yeah, that's that. Back to the DAX. If we have a look at the daily chart, it's quite interesting because we're starting to produce this kind of, what would that be, like a hanging man perhaps candlestick, and I was expecting it to be, and earlier on it was showing us there was going to be a bearish day today to kind of produce this star formation. So it'll be quite interesting to see where this closes actually, to see whether that's going to be a valid setup or not. I think if it stays neutral like this, then your guess is as good as mine as to what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Friday and Monday tend to be reversal days, so you could be forgiven for thinking that if we stick where we are now and we stay within this kind of this level, this 94.80 level, then tomorrow could be the day that it reverses down. But ultimately, you could also be forgiven for thinking that it's going to be the day that it just continues to smash through this upper end of the fork and just, you know, trounce on it all on its way up to 9,800. So at the minute, I'm a little bit perplexed. My mid-term outlook was always going to be fairly bullish. I think at the end of the year, I'd like to see us up towards 97. It's trying to sell off, but it just goes to show that we're in reporting season at the moment, and it's clearly having some weight on the DAX. There's a lot of positive outlook on some of these companies, and this is clearly affecting the futures market. So I hope you had a good trading day on there. I personally haven't, but I'm sure there's a few of you. I've been looking at stock twits. You guys have been making quite a few points on your scalp trade, so fair play. On a shorter term view for the DAX, there isn't really a huge amount going on. I've pulled a fib from the bottom of this swing on the around about 16th of November to the top. We've got a 38.2 fib zone that provides an area of confluence with the weekly R1. We've got the 50.61.8 fib zone where we've got the daily S3. We bounced off the daily S2, which we normally would do, and we've gone all the way back up to the daily pivot. We very rarely will ever get anywhere near the R1 once we've been down as far as S2, but it can happen. It's just unlikely. I think what's probably more likely for the rest of the evening is that we get somewhere closer to VWAP. It seems to like to do that, and if that was going to happen, then we're going to head off down a little bit close to 94.32, but probably more likely around about the 94.50. That would be my bet. Around about this kind of little area that's been carved out here as a support, just at the bottom of this part of the distribution. So that's pretty much it. Let's take a look at some of the other markets that I'm looking at the moment. Now, SPX, I'm beginning to dislike at the moment. I think I'm going to stay away from it for... who am I kidding? I'm definitely going to not be staying away from this. I still think we're looking toppy. It's just every short I seem to be making on this, it's stopping me out. I had another one I've got to update in a moment where I was stopped out today, but it just looks like it's going to head south from either current levels or slightly higher. I'm reluctant to jump straight into another trade. I'm just going to sit back and watch it for the moment. FTSE is broken out temporarily of its rising channel, and I was going to wait for an opportunity to buy this one, but for some reason I didn't pull the trigger here. I was a little bit worried that actually this was going to be more than just a bounce, but as you can see, it actually, although it has kind of faked out of this line, I probably need to do some work to change this channel a little bit, because I think when I came onto this laptop from my old one, I think the original channel was just a little bit less steep, and it's probably not in the right place at the moment. So I'll leave that one out and come back to it, but FTSE just seems to be doing really well at the moment. That's definitely if you would like this uptrend. So you've got low here, high here, higher low there, higher high here. You could say that this is the next higher low. Perhaps we're going to now bounce back into this channel and head up towards the 68. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get quite as high as 68, certainly within the next couple of weeks, but that's the general trend that it's following at the moment. Okay, Eurostox. I had a sell signal on the Eurostox earlier. I didn't take it. It's following very similar to the DAX at the moment, so I use the Eurostox more for divergence reasons than actually to trade it. Similarly with the US dollar index, I use this just a trend guide as opposed to trading it for CFDs. Gold, I mean, I've got no real bias on gold at the moment. I think if you look back from August, we're certainly in a downtrend. We've had this kind of area here where it's kind of sort of spun around a little bit, and at the moment we seem to be in a kind of an upward trend pattern, but it could just be a correction on this larger downward move. But at the moment we're currently trapped inside this box. I'm not going to trade it while we're in there, and I think I'm just going to leave gold alone for the moment. Don't have any particular bias on it at all. The only thing I have noticed is that a couple of lines here that we've got this one here, which is 1185. It seems to have provided an area of support in the past. We broke through it and have kind of come back out of it again, and it seems to be dancing around it at the moment. And then underneath here we've got this area of, if you like, support come resistance, and I'm just going to see if that actually does filter back to any other area. Okay, it's quite interesting that if you go back even into 2013, this area seemed to be quite common as an area to bounce. So I think that if we're above this, head up a little higher and then come down to retest it, we could be going up from here. Similarly, if we break down below and come up to retest, it's just one of those areas that it could seem to be an area of support or resistance, and it's been that area in the past as well. So that's why I've marked it off. But as I say, not trading in that. I'm just going to be waiting for it to get out of that box. Okay, so what else have we got? Aussie dollar, got a trade open on that one. I had a signal earlier on to sell around about here. I decided to get in on an order to just get a slightly better rate, basically, which we did. We're a few pips up, so we'll just leave that one, let it go. Not had much luck with Aussie dollar. It's beginning to get on my nerves, but if there's an opportunity there, you've got to take it. So cable, haven't got a trade on there anymore, and I'm just going to sit out and watch that one. Oil is quite interesting because I have actually put in an order for this one. It's a bit of a risky one because not entirely sure what's going to happen with the OPEC subcommittee or the OPEC meetings and things that are ongoing at the moment. But I am looking to sell this because whilst they're contemplating cutting supply, which might temporarily increase demand, there seems to be a bit of a price war going on at the moment, and it's not just American shale oil that seems to be hitting the market, but there's the Libyan factory that's just opened, there's a crisis with Russia at the moment, so they're going to be obviously trying to trade as much with the other countries as they can to get rid of their oil. You've got the American oil. North Sea are going to be producing more oil because there's some upgrades that are going on in their systems. So there's just a glut of oil at the moment. And I think that whilst it might temporarily spike the price, if an announcement comes out, say they're going to cut supply, that might only be a sort of a scratch compared to what else is actually out there. That's my opinion. And so I've decided to sell from a higher level from where we are now. We've had a mini sort of little area of demand that seems to be growing over the last sort of few hours, but I'm going to look to sell from 76, and if we can get there, great. If not, no big deal. We'll move on to another opportunity. I've put it down as $1, so 100-point stop and a 250 point take profit target, and 93.50 would be what I'm aiming at. So we'll see how that turns out. I've also got an order in for dollar yen. I mean, this is clearly obvious why I want to buy this, but I'm not looking to buy from current levels. I'm looking to buy slightly lower, and I think that we've had this decent period where we've managed to gain nearly 300 odd pip, and we're pulling back. Slight correction here, profit taking perhaps, but I think this could probably go in a sort of a simple wave move where this is the first one. We'll move up a little bit, come down a bit more, and then perhaps build from there. So I'm looking to go for the fib zone from this swing, going back to the 18th of November, getting in there, and then I'll buy from there. Kiwi dollar is, again, I had a sell signal that came in, and I didn't want to take it up straight away. It came in around about here, so I've decided that I don't want to sell until we get up here, which is just simply the 50 fib zone from this swing. So we'll see what we can take from that. And that sort of brings us back up to date. So I will leave it there. So as I say, with the DAX, it's quite interesting. It's done exactly the opposite to what I was expecting today. I'm beginning to not become surprised by that anymore. The one thing that did follow my prediction is this low volume pocket. And as soon as we opened that up this morning, as soon as we were going to break through the 94.38, it was going to give, and it did exactly that. So shame I missed that, but I wasn't here. So I'll keep my eyes open for another one. Anyways, I'll leave it there, and we'll catch up again in the morning.